Sono felice di presentarvi Audizioni per cantanti lirici, un manuale che racchiude anni di lavoro e esperienza nella preparazione di giovani professionisti e che espone in maniera chiara e completa tutto quello che c'è da sapere sull'arte di fare audizioni. All'interno troverete anche testimonianze di colleghi e artisti incontrati lungo il mio cammino, a partire dalla prefazione del direttore artistico del Teatro Real di Madrid, Joan Matabosch, i registi Emma Dante e Damiano Micheletto, l'étoile Eleonora Bagnato, la direttrice Speranza Scappucci, la coach Carmen Santoro e le cantanti Ermonella Iaho, Roberta Mantegna e Sumi Joe. Dai piccoli dettagli che fanno la differenza, come il curriculum e l'abbigliamento, fino ad argomenti molto più vasti, come la scelta del repertorio e l'analisi dei propri punti di forza e debolezza, questo libro contiene informazioni chiare, razionali e organizzate, così da creare un vero e proprio metodo di preparazione alle audizioni. È già possibile preordinare la vostra copia su Amazon e direttamente sul sito delle edizioni Curci, di cui troverete il link in bio, oppure potete presto acquistarlo direttamente nelle maggiori librerie. Seguitemi nei prossimi video dove vi racconterò più nello specifico i singoli capitoli del manuale.
Dear colleagues and friends, welcome to Prelude, an interview series about opera produced by Atelier d'Excellence for educational purposes. The current episode is supported by the dynamic online music platform and community of the aspiring opera singers. Our honorable guest today is one of Italy's most important mentors and musicologists, the director of the Young Artist Program at the Teatro di Roma, the Fabbrica program, is Eleonora Pacetti. Hello, Eleonora. Welcome to Prelude.
Hello, and thank you very, very much for your invitation.
We are very honored to have you, especially because you are someone who does so many things for young artists. It's very important, your work. Alejandra, welcome to Prelude. Alejandra is the founder of the Aspiring Opera Singers platform.
Hi,
Hello,
I'm so
Alejandra.
excited to be here and talk about your wonderful book. I've been reading it and I literally could not put it down because I was so excited to just learn all the things that you put down.
Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you so much.
Eleonora, I will start with my first question for you, which goes a little bit back in time. I would like to ask you what inspired you to combine your musical knowledge with operatic artistic administration. I know that you started your musical education as a pianist, and you then moved to study management. And until now, you served with great success in many casting positions around Europe. So would you like to speak a little bit about how it all started and about all these positions that you served until today?
Yeah, I mean, with pleasure. So, I mean, my path is quite simple at the very end, because I started very, very young as a child, as everyone, playing piano. So I was admitted very young at the National Conservatoire. And then when I was around 18, I also developed an incredible love for singing. So I also studied singing for 3 years. And so I'm mainly a musician. But as soon as I obtained my diploma, I was around 21, more or less. I quickly understood that my place wasn't and that was a big crisis, actually, because you studied exactly for being on stage, and you realize that, no, this is not the place I want to be. Yeah? So the question was, where do I imagine myself? And the reply was a little bit astonishing, and especially if you think that I was 22 at that moment. And my reply was, I would like to take decisions. What does it mean to take decisions? I mean, I would like to create things. Take decisions for me means to create projects maybe, or to create casting, or, to help one in creating a better form of his work, of his artistry. So I understood that. I mean, I was already working as a coach and in Paris. So I moved to Paris immediately. And I was coaching singers. And I also worked very, very often with Baroque music. And I enjoyed very much the work of coaching, so being a coach. But I was very young, so I took advantage for coming back to the university and studying management. So I did it. With the idea of applying, of course, my management studying to the musical world. I've never thought about, being a manager in a general enterprise. So I started with this aim, and I was rewarded in a way, because at the end of my master's, from Teatro alla Scala, the casting manager needed an assistant, and and he asked the university, and the university replied, we just have one person that can be able to assist you in casting, because this is the only person that knows about music, knows about singing, speak the foreign languages, and can be able to help you. I mean, so I don't know, and this is something that I will never know, if he chose me or he was like, obliged by the need to take me into this internship in La Scala. But it was a very important opportunity for me. So I had that has been my main luck in my career. Maybe the only luck I have. I mean, I have the idea that the first time that things happen, this is luck. Okay, good luck. From the second on, it is not anymore a question of being lucky, because it is the question of being able to resist in these places, and to be able to show that you deserve the position you have. So starting from La Scala, then I immediately starting, organizing audition. So that is my destiny, as my very first job at La Scala, and helping in castings. After that, I was called for an experience in a young artist program, the young artist program of Teatro Comunale di Bologna, and that was, after years and years, that was looking back, I understand how important it was for me to have had at least this opportunity in a young artist program. But after, a year and a half in the young artist program, I was appointed casting manager in a major opera house in Italy. That is the one situated in Bari, Puglia, and the name is Teatro Petruzzelli, one of the most beautiful theaters in our country. And I held this position for 3 years approximately, because after that they called me from Rome, the Rome Opera House, saying, we are the capital of Italy. So we are the capital of one of the most important countries for the opera, even historically speaking. So we are the capital of one of the most important countries for our operatic genre, and program that invests on the future of the artists. And it was a very, very important luck. So Rome was lacking since the 1930s of a kind of young artist program. Of course, back in the 30s, they weren't called the young artist program, but it was, a school inside the theater. that formed an entire generation of major Italian singers. And I said, okay, wow, it seems challenging. It seems very challenging. But it seemed to me extremely excited. So I started, to study all the models already existent all over the world. And I tried to do a summary of what I thought was the best, the best qualities of everyone, and picking the good things from all the young artist program I started. So I started this program in 2016, and we are now about to finish the third edition of the program. And the call for the fourth edition of the program is open. So please, apply. We are a very international program. It means that during these three editions, we hosted people from the 4 continents. So we have dealt with all nationalities and languages and backgrounds, and this is one of the most exciting thing about my job. And I completely felt in love with this focusing on young artists, and now it's like an addiction. So I cannot think to renounce to this part of my knowledge.
This is so wonderful. When you start working for this purpose, I know that you can't stop. You simply can't stop.
Yeah.
Eleonora, the main reason why we have you today with us is to speak about this wonderful book, the Audizioni per cantanti lirici. It's a wonderful book. It's a must read, according to my opinion, for young opera singers and emerging artists, and for all opera singers, actually. And I would like to give the mic to Alejandra to elaborate a little bit more on that with you.
Yes, I love how you've talked about your experience working with young artists, and I would love to know if you could share with us some of the experiences or the source of inspiration for putting together this guide of auditions for singers.
Yeah, of course, this is the result of years of practical work with young artists, and also years of doing selections. So casting and auditions. And it was, a way for me also to give a form to just an experience of listening to hundreds and hundreds of singers every year. But what convinced me to try to write this book was when I started to look around on the books existent on this subject. And what I found out is that there are some, mainly in English, but most of them are not very updated. So maybe they are, 20 years older, and the world changed in the meantime. And above all of those books weren't, according to my opinion, complete. And the fact of not having found something really complete, and then I think I will have some time for speaking about the different chapters of my book. I'm not sure that I will give something really complete to my readers, but at least you will understand that I really touch 7 different main themes related to the audition world, which I didn't found in any publication. Moreover, the other thing that was interesting to my eyes is the fact that there wasn't any publication in Italian. And what is the problem? I mean, I'm not so fan of, Italy is better, but Italy at least is representative of the European perspective on casting, because the German, for example, perspective is not, we don't consider it as fully European. So you have the casting you do in the US, you have the casting you do, for example, in Russia, you have the casting you do in Germany, and then you have the casting you do in all the other European countries. On auditioning, finding the repertoire, approaching the career, pushed me during the lockdown to write this book.
Absolutely. Like you said, I was going to mention that it's so important that we take into account how many things have changed, especially during the pandemic. And I may be biased because I'm talking right now with you, but I really looked over the chapters and the content that you cover, and I do think it's so holistic. It includes so many things that I hadn't even thought about or considered. And it's so exciting to hear and read all these things from the perspective of someone with your experience.
Listen, Alejandra, thank you, because this is the major compliment that you could have told me, the word holistic. And thank you, because it is exactly the purpose with whom I wrote the book. So thank you again.
Of course.
Thank you both. Thank you both. I agree totally with Alejandra on this. And another thing I would add, Eleonora, people will understand it as you make the description and you will answer to questions. But I think this book gives power to the singer, gives power in our hands, literally. Anyway, would you like to speak a little bit more?
It's an empowerment book. Yeah, I mean, thank you again. Even Maria, because empowerment is the other key word that I had in mind when I wrote it.
A holistic empowerment method, let's say.
Okay.
We have a slogan here right now. Would you like to speak a little bit about the contents of the book, Eleonora, and analyze a little bit the chapters and what they include?
Yeah, with pleasure. If you don't mind, as I have the book on my computer, I will try to also to share the screen with you so that you can maybe see a little bit the pages.
That would be wonderful. Great.
Okay, I think you now see my screen, right?
I have to add it to the stream. It's something I do for first time, but it worked, it seems. Great.
Okay, so I will try to be quite quick for in the description, because the questions are more important. You see that at the very beginning there is a foreword, and that is very dear to me because it has been written by Joan Matabosch, so the artistic director of the Teatro Real de Madrid. And I mean, he really said that this book should be, the Bible for every singer, not only the singers at the beginning of their career, but also during all the career of a singer, because we don't have to forget that for most of the singers, audition will be something that will be part of their job during all their professional life, especially when you want to be introduced in a new theater, when you change repertoire, or maybe in the same theater the artistic director change, or the conductor want to hear you on the role before to you. So this is the main theme that Joan said on his foreword. Now, then you will find after that an introduction. The most important thing, in my opinion, in the introduction is the purpose of the book. So if I have to summarize, the purpose of this book is to change your perspective. Okay, so the singer, in my opinion, should embrace the perspective of the people who select him or her. So to reverse the perspective from your perspective as an artist to the perspective of the people that make the choices. And this is, we speak about it in the introduction. Then I'm searching for chapter number 1. Okay, so the title is "What is an Audition?" And which is maybe a silly title, but I mean, at the very end is not, because it gives us the opportunity to really reflect on what is an audition. What does it mean do an audition today? Yeah. So I start doing a comparison with other professional worlds, like the one of the craftsman and the one of the athletes. That is very, very important. Then I speak about here what you can control and what you cannot control, because this is extremely important to understand, not to waste time. Okay, so what is not under your control, just pretend not to see it, because otherwise you will waste a lot of time, and you, instead of being focused on what you can control. Okay, here I speak about the myths to dispel in an audition, about the audition world. And I think this is quite important for the singers, because they when they read the myths to dispel, normally they are more quiet after. So it's a good chapter. And here we compare the audition with a work interview. And this is very important, because if you think about an audition as a work interview, your approach in preparing the audition will change completely. Yeah? Okay, at the end of the first chapter, we speak, yes, about the relationship between the singers and the panel. So we try to understand if singers and the judging panel are enemies or allies. And this is nice also for the people who discover that we are not enemies. We speak about the feedbacks. Okay, but then I have a little bit to move forward. And we go to chapter number 2. And here it's, I mean, I will be very short, because the content, it will be too long. The chapter speaks about how many types of audition exist. Okay, so every audition is different, but I summarized in 7 main type of audition that you see here. So every audition has different purposes, needs have different expectations. In those auditions, what also differs is the number of candidates and the external circumstances. So according to the type of audition you are doing, everything changes. First of all, the repertoire. So if we don't understand exactly the logic underneath every different kind of audition, we risk to miss an opportunity, especially because of that. So I think we will speak about it, but of course, I mean, if you audition for a young artist program, it is completely different comparing to an audition for an agency or an audition for a competition. So starting from the repertoire and everything accordingly must be changed and revised. Okay, so I maybe skip to chapter number 3, if I see it here, page 71. Yeah, okay, so here are all the practical elements to be analyzed when you audition. So we start speaking about how to interact and how, for example, to introduce yourself. And this is important for taking awareness of the power of the nonverbal language. So everything that is written here, how to dress, how it is all about the nonverbal language. Also, the CV is nonverbal language. We are going to speak about it. So we speak about the scores, how to dress. There is a chapter how to dress. I mean, in my first draft of the book, I also included some pictures, but then it was too complicated because out of context, it is very complicated to understand if the dress is correct or not. So I just wrote a long theory about it. Okay, and here we enter a very important chapter, that is the movements during the audition. This is very long, and this I, let's say, invented, and that I propose here in this part of chapter number 3. And at the end of the method that I propose, there is a specific example of an area worked with the acting score. So I proposed this method that I called the acting score. Yes, so this is quite long and important. And then we speak about the CV. There is a bit of theory, which is quite important. And after the theory, I took some examples. Okay, you see my pictures because I didn't want the real people to be recognized. And there is the after and before. So I took CVs after, I transformed, and you see the after and before. After and before. Okay, so this is the before. Okay, and which is not quite well readable. It's difficult. The information are difficult to memorize. It takes very long to read, and this is the before, where all the information are quite organized. One of the main thing that I stress all the time when we speak about the CV, remember that the CV is written is read while you are singing. So that's why it is so important to have a CV extremely clear, effective in one page with only the main information well classified, because otherwise it will subtract attention from your performance. Okay, I briefly speak about the social media, about the professional pictures, and about the pre-selection videos. This is quite important because you know better than me that nowadays most of the competitions, for example, require pre-selection video. So it is very important to have a technique for doing them properly. Okay, so we enter the second part of the book, and the second part of the book is a part more personal. So is a real method that I try to put together for the readers. And so from chapter 4 to chapter 7, you will find something that you cannot find elsewhere, because it's a personal method. Well, also the acting score in the third chapter is a very personal method, and you cannot find it elsewhere. But here we enter in a chapter that speak about the self-analysis. Okay, so we speak about what is the method of self-analysis, how the self-analysis method is necessary for choosing the repertoire. And then we start with the self-assessment questions. And those questions require three main three main areas. And this is the vocal area, area della vocalità, vocal area. So how is your sound? How is the body? How is the where are the passaggios? How is this how is the lama, or the point of the voice? How is your volume, etc. And the color, so the definition of the color of the voice. If it's dark, if it's cold, or if you have a good color, a beautiful color, if you have a recognizable color, etc. Then we go to the second main area, and this is the technical and musical area. So we speak about all the technical issues, the legato, the high notes, the posture, the positions, the coloraturas, the phrasing, the tempo, the dynamics, the accents, etc. And I also encourage people to define their ability to interpret. So the ability of being related to the world, to the word, to the text, the repetition of the text, again, the accents, how to deal with cadenza, agilità, the languages, the phonetics, etc. And then we go to the third main area, which is the physical and acting area. So we do the difference between the person and the character. We speak about the first impression. That is very important for understanding which are the characters that someone is pushed to give you immediately. Okay, so what is your first impression mean? Which character, looking at your energy, can I immediately imagine in you? And this is quite important. So starting from this, we distinguish into the spontaneous characters, the compatible characters, and the far characters. It means that you can, of course, choose the characters from the three categories, but you have to know which kind of character it is comparing to your first impression. Because if it doesn't correspond to the first impression, we have to do some exercises for entering the character. Okay, other self-assessment questions, and then we go to chapter number 5, and this is entirely consecrated to the repertoire choice. So I start doing a classification of the repertoire. So this is my method, and I encourage everyone to classify the repertoire, because doing this classification, we have an image, an immediate image of what the aria shows, what the aria doesn't show, how long is the aria, which are the technical issues that you are going to show, which is the form, the writing, the language, and the kind of character. If it shows high notes, low notes, etc. So having this classified is very helpful when you will have an offer for an audition, and you have to decide which areas to pick from all your repertoire. So I, going on with this chapter, I take some practical examples. So, for example, in a competition that required 6 arias, we chose these 6 arias, and I explain why we chose those 6 arias and not the other one that were part of the repertoire of the artist. And so I do at least 4 examples of real singers, real repertoires. So you see, for example, here the second example. And again, practical examples of which areas we chose for that specific audition and why. Okay, I go on and we skip to chapter number 6, page 229. Page 229, here it is. Okay, how to prepare for an audition. Okay, so I divide into, again, 3 main areas. And those are the psychological preparation, the physical preparation, and the artistic preparation. The psychological preparation speak mainly about, well, the fears, the breathing, you know, how to deal with the interference, and then we speak about the different kind of memories that we use as a singer. So, and this is very, very important, because this is a real method for suggest how to study well without wasting time. So we have different memories, and taking awareness of those different memories is the basis for the mental study and the applied concentration. Okay, so if we are able, when we study, to understand that studying doesn't mean singing, but studying means understanding which memory you are training in a specific moment, how to combine the different memories, and how to focus your concentration on a specific problem, and putting your attention on how to solve those problems and fixing the solutions that you have found, you waste a lot of time. You don't waste any time. It was the opposite. Okay, well, I go on speaking about the physical preparation. So for me, it's very important, the posture. So I speak very much about the relaxation exercises and the posture. And then I go to the artistic preparation. What does it mean, the artistic preparation? I mean that you have to fix your goals. Your goals must be realistic, and I mean a good goal must have a lot of identities that are listed here. And then I speak about the artistic preparation thanks to the self-analysis of your videos as a tool for improving. So I take this score and I write down what is a self-analysis of a video. It means that you have to look back at your video, understanding for the 3 main areas, so acting, technical, and musical. what you do, and then compare to what I would like to do. Okay, what I would like to do is the first step for taking awareness of your direction, your goal, and the direction to improve. So it is quite effective to work on the self-analysis of the videos. For example, here, in the area, what I do, I speak about also musical things. I mean, musical things that it's difficult to write down, but can be useful for a singer. Never forget about the articulation, for example. Never forget vowel consistency. Never forget about the one position in a column, etc. So we, in this part of the book, gave me also the possibility of speaking about something very precise on musical tools. And we arrive at the end of the book, and this is chronoprogramma. It's difficult to translate, but I mean, it means setting your schedule as a tool for working. So what I do here is I follow the day by day 30 days. So I imagine that now we receive the news that in 30 days we have an audition. What do we do in these 4 weeks that are between today and the audition? So I follow one person that is preparing an audition every day. So day 6, day 7, second week, and setting down the routine. So the routine is very much related. It is an application of what we just saw on the previous chapter from one side. And from the other side, in the routine, there are also the mental exercises, the physical exercises, and the meetings. So the meeting with the pianist, the meeting with the teacher of vocal technique, the meeting with the person that helped you in doing Alexander technique for your body, or Pilates or yoga. And we also plan some middle public execution, so middle concerts, using all the time as a tool our self-analysis on our videos. And then we arrive to the day of the audition, so day 30. And the result, if we worked well in this day 30, is that the singer should arrive being able to say, I have done everything that was in my power to be prepared for this audition. And this is the conclusion, because if you as a singer, you can pronounce those words, it means that you will not have problems of stage fright. The conclusions, and then I take just 1 second for the very end. Here in the bibliography, you find all the texts that inspired the. And you see, I've read, books about acting, mental training, career tips, vocal and physical training, repertoire and classification of the vocal registers. Okay, so I think I can interrupt my screen. Okay,
Yes.
just for you to know that in the book there are a lot of artists that wanted to give a contribution. And I would like to quote every one of them at least once. So, as I said, Johann Matabosch was the first, the artistic director of Teatro Real de Madrid. Then we have an intervention of Étoile Eleonora Bagnato that speak about the research of excellency. Then we have an intervention of Carmen Santoro, one of the main Italian coach and repetiteur. She works really worldwide. Then we have two directors. One is Damiano Micheletto, and the other is Emma Dante, and they don't need to be introduced because they are quite self-introducing. And Ermonella Iaho wrote a very, very touching intervention about what is to be peculiar and about the artistry. Okay, so she mainly spoke about the artistry and the sensitivity. What makes the difference in artistry and sensitivity. Then there is an intervention of Roberta Mantegna, who is a direct student of mine from the first edition of the Young Artist Program that embarked already in an international career. So I wanted also to have a direct student of mine writing. Speranza Scappucci, the conductor, she is the first woman, Italian woman that conducted an opera at La Scala. So she has also a very symbolic value for me. And she speak about the musical preparation, how to study in comparison, doing an interesting between how a conductor studies and how a singer studies, okay? And then there is Sumijo as the last intervention because she speak about the opera in the world. So it was the good place for her intervention was at the very, very end. I hope I didn't speak for too long, and I hope it was clear.
It was absolutely clear. Thank you very much for the very compact presentation, because actually the material of the book is very vast. So I think you did a great job describing all the aspects.
Thank you.
At this point, Eleonora, we had the inspiration to make this event today more interactive than other preludes. And we decided to invite some young artists that we have been working with the past years at Atelier d'Excellence, which are establishing themselves in the world market right now. They're doing really well, and we are very proud of them. And I will start adding each one of them to the stream. So we're going to be a lot of people on the screen today. So we have all of them. Would you be so kind as to unmute yourselves? You can unmute yourself to say hello.
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 Hello, everyone. I think when we are all with the mics turned on, we have a sound return. Do you hear it, or it's only from my end? Okay, good. Good. So I think we should give the mic, Alejandra, to these wonderful young people that we have with us today. We are very honored to have you. And the first question belongs to Danae Eleni Soprano. Hello, Danae.
Hello,
Welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. And Maestra Pacetti, it is so wonderful that this book already has so many people championing it. It should be on everyone's bookshelves, and I can't wait to read the whole thing. I have a specific question about the method in chapters 4 to 7. Like, all of the self-assessment gives us back ownership of our voices and role choices, and that's really wonderful for a singer to be given a little bit of control over what we choose to present ourselves as. But I had a question to ask: when auditioning for a panel, let's say for a small to medium house, if they have contemporary repertoire in their sort of forthcoming seasons, would you suggest to add some of that to an audition, or to leave it out and stick to standard repertoire?
Well, okay. What I suggest all the time is to study, and I mean, I spoke about the comparison with the job interview, right? So when you do an interview for a company, you study the activities of that company before doing the interview. Okay, so even if you, I mean, do 5 interviews, all 5 for a marketing position. Okay, those 5 interviews will be different because it will be different the kind of work that the society does, right? And it will be the same for your auditions. You are doing an interview, so study well the seasons that they program. Also, study well the tastes of the people that are in the jury. Sometimes, for example, and you have to know a little bit also about the story of the opera house you're auditioning to. For example, you can discover that the artistic director you are auditioning for has been appointed only 6 months before your audition. Okay, so in that case, if you study the past seasons of this theater, it doesn't mean that you are doing the right job. Okay, because maybe this new artistic director has a new view and will program different titles in the future. So in that case, you have to study the seasons that this artistic director did in his or her previous theaters, for example. Okay, so this is very much being aware of the people that are listening to you. Of course, if you see that in a house they have a very broad repertoire that goes from Baroque to contemporary music, you position yourself according to this broad repertoire. If you see that in an opera house the repertoire is very much limited to the main Italian and French titles, okay, so why to bring the contemporary opera or the Russian one, for example? Okay, so it is all about finding a balance between what suits you, what is good for you and for your voice and for your voice type and character type, etc., and what is the need of the people that listen to you.
Thank you very much, both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to say about Danai, thank you, Danai. Danai is singing right now all around Europe. She's having upcoming performances with Opera de Bourget. So, toi, 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 Danai for everything.
Brava.
And now we move to the next question that belongs to another wonderful soprano, Juliette Lozano, who is currently engaged at the Grand Théâtre de Genève at the Young Artist Program.
Bravo.
Hello,
Hello, and thank you
Yeah.
so much, everyone, and thank you, Atelier and Eleonora, for your time. It's really important, especially now in, I mean, this new career that we are all facing. My question is about how to get to the auditions, because I know a lot of different artists in different stages are finding themselves with difficulty getting them. So, in your experience, how important it is for an emerging artist to have artistic representation when auditioning, and how can young artists that don't have representation find out where and when and how auditions happen?
Yeah, this is a very important question and very difficult to reply, but I will try. I will do my best. Having an artistic representative, it is something that facilitates very, very much because they know what the theaters are looking for. And those are information that even myself, that I work in a theater, I don't have. I mean, if you ask me, what are they looking for in this moment at Royal Opera House Covent Garden, I reply, I have no idea. Okay, only an international agent normally have this information. So it is important to have a representative. Then, okay, I go step by step. What I think is that you can start working without an agency. Okay, so the agents are not required for start working. So how? Doing the competitions, maybe focusing on the competitions where you have a concrete output, like a role to sing on stage, and to look where there are open auditions in the theaters. So you can write to the theaters asking if they do open auditions. Okay, and those are the ones that are accessible normally when you don't have an agency. If you start working like this, you will start having also some professional contacts with the director, with the conductor, with a colleague, with this theater. And so, I mean, you can start keep things moving.
Building your network.
Yeah, doing your network. I mean, for example, network sometimes is also something that I see, for example, with my students. Students that come from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, from Chile, from Cuba, from countries, okay, non-European countries. They are able to do their network alone. So the problem of network is mainly European, and US, mainly in the US and in Europe, because we have more opera houses and the market is full. So this also can be an idea for starting a network. Then you start your network hoping that an agent will notice you. Or you can write to an agent when you have already done some working experiences. So you have good videos and you can present yourself. Even though I think that the best way for contacting an agent is to be introduced by someone of the roster. So if you know a singer of the roster of an agent, okay, this is a good person that can introduce you to the agent. Otherwise, you should ask your young artist program manager to introduce you to the agencies. And sometimes, also conductors, directors, or theaters you work with, you can ask to be introduced to an agent. The agent, so it will become necessary in a second step of your career. It means if you want to start an international. I hope it was clear enough.
Very, very much. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you both. Thank you both very much. Now we will cross the Atlantic to go find Miss Jessie Nilsson, soprano from the United States. Jessie, you are muted. I think you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi, my dear. Hi, my dear. Jessie just sang with Nashville Opera, and we are also very proud of her. Jessie, the question belongs to you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Usually I'm snuggled on the couch with my dogs and my coffee watching Prelude, because it's noon here or 1 o'clock, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this. So thank you, Maria, for having me. My question is, auditions can be so nerve-wracking, lots of adrenaline, lots of excitement. And I know you already talked briefly about a chapter in your book about things that are within the singer's control, that we can control and that we can focus on. So could you maybe elaborate a little bit on that? And, how can we make the most of those tools?
Yeah. So as you said, the things that I have already explained are mainly how to deal with your psychological, physical, and artistic preparation. And I think that this is the basis for having the control, for the empowerment. Okay, so this is something you have under your control, and you can work on that as much as you want. The over preparation is the best ally for when you do auditions. Over preparation, because this is, the only tool for becoming aware of your performance level, being able to set your goal and control the steps that lead to the achievement, and it gives an incredible sense of stability. Also, what we saw is about the setting a schedule. This leads normally to a strength that give you the feeling of having done everything that is in your power to do. What I maybe didn't say before is that all the self-analysis that you go into during the phase of studying must disappear while singing. So you will learn how to enjoy singing even under pressure, because you have already dealt with all your fears, all your insecurities. You have already worked on that. And this is very much important then for being into the real moment when you sing. Okay, something that I suggest you not to, again, to pretend it doesn't exist is, and this is a very painful issue, is don't care about, my suggestion at least is not to care about how the panel is voting. So you will never know why a singer that you don't think deserved the prize won it. And you can start, thinking, doing a hypothesis about why. Maybe that was the reason. Maybe that was there was something unfair in the voting. Okay, the reply is you cannot simply know it. So don't pretend that it doesn't exist. Okay, in my experience, but this is really my experience, serious competitions, for example, are very clean. I've never, I had bad experiences when in more local competitions, and where sometimes you find people that know very well the candidates, and they have students. Okay, so the more you are in a little reality, and the more this personal influences can be a temptation. But in an international level, the competitions are, for example, the sum of different personalities. So sometimes you have, 15 people in a panel that come from 15 countries. So they have 15 different way of doing castings. They have 15 different voice types in mind for a character. And we are different. And yes, we are different. We are different because, for example, there are countries where acting become, I don't know if more important, but as important as the voice. Okay. Other countries, like, for example, the Mediterranean one, where the voice is the voice, and then we speak about all the rest. In the US, what for us is a loud voice, for them is a voice. In France, they are the opposite. they consider a voice something that I'm here forcing myself to hear, you know. So when you have different personalities in a panel, sometimes it is so unpredictable, the result. So this is something I don't suggest you to care about, for example.
Eleonora, okay, you were froze for a while. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Thank you both. At this point, I'm going to welcome the only man that is encircled by 6 women, our Giorgo Ioannou. He's a baritone engaged currently at the Opera de Bastille Young Artist Program. Hello, Giorgo.
Hi.
Welcome.
Well, my question would be, what is the level of acting required from a young artist during an audition? Meaning, you know, often sometimes we are wondering, should I restrict myself in a small space close to the piano and just try to act as much as we can in that space, or feel free and just explore the stage while, you know, auditioning in any kind of scenario, either for competitions, you know, for a young artist program, or for like roles in theaters? So yeah, that's basically my question.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I will share my opinion that is a little bit different from the question. It means that for me, it is not important how much you move, if you stay near the piano, if you move around the stage. I mean, those are all consequences. So I don't like people that give suggestions about acting. I mean, acting is not about taking suggestions from someone else, but acting is a technique. So it's like the vocal technique. It is a technique. So to me, the most important thing and the most valuable thing is to see a believable character. So if I see a believable character, my empathy is with you. If I see expressions and movements, but I don't see the character, the believable character, I just see a singer that moves. Okay, a singer that pretend to be a character. It is, well, as I told you before, I've risked in trying to propose a method that I called the acting score. And so I suggest for creating believable characters. So this is just the method applied to the audition. There is a main difference between the acting that you do on stage when you have a production and the acting that is required for an audition. This is the main difference, because when you are on stage, you are on stage. You have sets, you have props, you have lights, and you have acting partners. When you are in an audition, you are naked and you don't have acting partners. That's why I strongly believe that the acting technique that you can acquire when for singing on stage, it is slightly different to the acting technique needed for an audition. So, and in my book, of course, I speak just about the acting technique that, in my opinion, is needed for an audition. And in my opinion, you have to, starting from analyzing the theme of the opera, the super objective of the character, the objective of the character. Then you have to do a step further, framing the character inside the specific area. One step even more, you have to try to the submersion in the character emotional world, and sometimes this is possible possible also recalling some personal experiences. Sometimes not, but sometimes it's possible. Then once you have done this first stages, I suggest you to start analyzing the subtext. So what does it mean? It means analyzing the internal conversations of the character and the impulses. Okay, so if you take awareness of the subtext, you will be able then to do the acting score. The acting score is your score where you decide where to fix your impulses and how to react to them. So once you decide that between bar 1 and bar 5, the impulse is a slow growing of anxiety, and you decide that this is the impulse that start in bar number 1, and the reaction is slow, 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 and strong reaction in bar number 5. This is something that can be also practiced. And this is the main difference. If you do the acting score, you can practice your acting score so that when you will be during the audition or during, during your singing, you don't have to recall, okay, here I decided that I have to move my hand. I mean, this is not the beginning. This is the consequence of this is the reaction, okay? And I mean, the important thing is not remembering which expression I wanted to do or which movement I wanted to do, but the important thing is to remember where my impulses are and where I decided to react to these impulses. If you do this kind of work, in my opinion, we have some chance to create a believable character. I hope it was clear because it's a very difficult subject.
Thank you very much, Yorgo and Eleonora. The next question goes to Juliet Lozano.
Thank you so much for all of this. This is amazing. Like all of these tools that you're sharing with us. I'm gonna divert a little bit and go back to what you were saying about what the singer can control, and actually after we've auditioned, to understand that you don't have a lot of control on the panel that you have. But there is something that I found quite interesting, and it's the whole side of the mental health for singers. Probably this is also part of the book, and you've said a little bit already, but I'm still curious to know if you can share with us some tools on dealing with rejection post auditioning.
Okay.
Once you didn't get it.
Once you know, sorry, I lost you for.
Once you know you didn't get it, or that you didn't win the competition or whatever it was.
Okay. Yes. So I speak very often about feedbacks, and I'm very opinionated about it. So this is I have to tell you in advance that I am very opinionated. I don't think that the feedback is important. I think that the most important thing for you is your awareness. So if you are strong in knowing who you are and you are secure about your path, in this case, feedbacks can be included in your, let's call it, certainties system, okay? So if you have already your certainties system, the feedback can be included. Otherwise, the feedback is just something that can overwhelm you, and so it's better not to be affected by a feedback if you don't have this strong system. Then remember that we are not God. We are not the Holy Mary, okay? we are listeners at the very end, okay? And you don't know the person you are asking the feedback. For example, okay, let's do practical examples. I have my opinions about vocal technique. Everyone has, okay? But when I audition, if you use a different technique than the one I think is the good one, but the result is okay or good or excellent, I don't care. I mean, I want to learn. I want to. Other people don't, because they have their things in mind. Okay, so why to give all this power to to a person that maybe just listen to one area in a first round of a competition for 4 minutes? Okay, I mean, do it, but only if you feel strong enough. Otherwise, don't. Okay, if you feel strong enough, the feedback can be a very nice confrontation. Because, for example, I'll tell you, have you ever tried the coloratura repertoire? Because I think your voice can do it. For example, this roll, this roll, this roll. Oh no, I never tried it. Okay, so it can be a good stimulus, right? Or I don't know. I mean, maybe this repertoire is too heavy for your voice. Have you ever thought about something lighter? If you have your tools, you can be able to include these feedbacks in.
Eleonora, sometimes in some competitions and some auditions, especially general auditions, they don't give feedback. Like, even if you ask for it, sometimes they don't. How can you deal with that also? I mean, I guess it's all about understanding that it's out of your control, but I still want to know if you have other tools maybe about that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, for example, I don't like to give feedbacks to people that I see for 30 seconds. Was I freezed?
No.
Only for
Do
a
you
second.
hear me well?
Eleonora, it happens only for some seconds and then you come back. It happens often, but it's not a big problem.
Okay. So I was telling you that I don't like, for example, to give feedbacks if I don't have the proper time for explaining to people. Okay, if I have 30 seconds or 1 minute, I refuse to give a feedback. So my suggestion is ask a feedback when you have the proper time for discussing with this person and the proper situation. If you are in a line of people and you have 30 seconds, don't ask for feedbacks, because it is not responsible to give a feedback to someone you don't know in 30 seconds. This is my opinion.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you both, ladies. Yorgo?
So my next question is basically, we are human, so we have good days and bad days. So if, for example, one day at an audition is not our day, we didn't do good, but, you know, how would you choose a singer based on their audition or based on something, you know, like a special element yet that you've heard in the audition? Meaning, like, is it very crucial that the audition goes perfect, or would you choose still some singer that didn't do so well, but you heard something?
Okay, your question contains two questions. So the first question, the first part of the question is if it's the case to audition if you don't feel all right, if you don't feel okay. And the second part of the question is about which values distinguish a singer from the crowd. Okay, so I think those are two things that are a little bit different. Okay, so concerning the first part, if you are not, this, again, I'm very opinionated. I think that if you are not in the good day, don't audition, cancel, okay? Why? Because I cannot understand how your voice would have sound if you didn't have a cold. It is not just in my power to understand it, okay? It is not in my power to understand how your voice would have sounded if you haven't slept all night. I mean, this is not in my power, okay? So remember all the time that you know yourself, I don't know you, okay? So present yourself when you think that you can have your visit card to give me, okay? And this is the first part of the question. Then, for which are the elements that can let someone stand from the crowd? This is artistry. Artistry. So if I see a believable character, if I see that the words that you are singing are not just a repetition of something that you studied at home, okay, but is like that you are thinking those words in this very moment, that you are speaking these words because this is your feeling in this very moment. Okay, this is part of the artistry. And of course, artistry is all the rest: musicality, technical preparation, foreign languages, etc., etc., personality. Okay, this is the element that make you stand from the crowd. But also remember that, yes, I mean, even if an audition is not perfect, okay, but I found you interesting for me, okay, because the sum of our votes didn't let you win. But I found you interesting. I do it all the time. I write an email to this person saying, next time, I found you very interesting. Next time that I am auditioning in Rome, please audition. I do it all the time. I don't care about the other the final votes. Okay, so even if it's an audition doesn't bring immediately a result, it can make your name circulate. I hope I replied to your questions.
Thank you very much, Eleonora and Yorgo. Now it's time to hear Jess's voice again.
Yes. So my question is about how you've dedicated so much of your life and your career to helping emerging artists, young artists. What has been the most rewarding aspect of the work that you do?
Okay. I mean, every one of us must know if he or she has a kind of mission in life. Okay, mine is to help people developing their talent. I like it very, very much, and this is, I think, the most rewarding aspect of my job. Maybe the only one. I mean, related to this idea of helping people developing the talent, because I have a lot of respect for talent. I have respect for, when I see talent in a human being, I feel a lot of respect. So my students, I respect them very much because I see in them this burning flame, and I like to be in touch with this talent and burning flame. Maybe my talent is to help people developing talent. I mean, everyone has a talent, right? And also, the thing that I like is that I wish all the time that thanks to my work, I could be able to ameliorate a human being, maybe not only under the artistic point of view, but also under the personal point of view. And this is something that, when it happens, it's very rewarding.
Thank you very much, both, again. We have a question, Eleonora, if you would be so kind to reply from the audience. It's another AdE artist that we know well. It's Maria Alejandra Solano. She says that you were saying that your own awareness is more important than feedback in audition. How can you strengthen this awareness?
I have wrote a book about it. So the reply is very long. First, understanding your strength, understanding your weaknesses, understanding if you have traits of your personality that are not useful for your job, being able to deal with frustration, and then being able to put yourself in the eyes of the people that are choosing you, to be able to study very much the context in which you are auditioning, making the difference of the different kind of auditions, preparing and over preparing every practical detail, choosing your repertoire according to the self-analysis of your voice. And this is the most important thing. Most of the time, singers don't bring a proper repertoire. The repertoire is your, the repertoire is you when you audition, okay? You are the repertoire you sing, okay? So the choice must be extremely, extremely rational. You have to think about it and overthink, even overthink about it, and change it according to the place you're auditioning to. Because as I said, the expectations are different, the motivations are different, the outputs are different according to the different auditions. So the self-analysis of your voice bring you to the right repertoire, and the other self-analysis bring you, sorry, the analysis of the context bring you to ask yourself the right questions. Then you have to learn how to study, because the problem of many singers is that they don't study enough. I'm very sorry for that, but I mean, every pianist spend 8 hours a day, every day, on a keyboard. If you want to be a singer, you must study 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day doesn't mean you have to sing 8 hours a day. You have to do everything that I've just said. Do your videos, on your recordings, study the acting point of view, the technical point of view, the musical point of view, and then repeat and restudy, do the exercises, do the breathing exercises, and then repeat and restudy. And then you do the mental exercises and then repeat and restudy, and you compare the result. Is this the position better before or now? What did I change? I changed this. Okay, so this is correct. This is incorrect. I fixed the correct, and so on. Okay, so the pronunciation. We know that the foreign language. I mean, if French, for example, so I hear some singers that would like to be taken into consideration for the French repertoire, and I say, I mean, which vowel are there? Which language is it? Okay, and the same for German, and the same for Italian. The study of the phonetics. Okay, so if you have to spend your time studying phonetics, is it boring? Yes, very much. But I mean, it is the only way that I can do. The phrasing is changes according to the language. So you cannot, sometimes this is very common. It makes me laugh all the time. German singers that sing Italian Mozart. A poem. Because this is like, they apply their phrasing to phrasing. And so, for example, if a word is important, they stress the beginning of the word. Questo è giusto. Okay, we don't do that. Okay, so you cannot just copy and paste your phrasing on a different language. I can go on for an hour saying what makes a good studying for a singer. But yes, remember that you have to work 8 hours a day, like every musician. Okay, maybe I was too severe. I'm sorry.
No, we are not afraid. You're here to help us, so we're not afraid at all. Alejandra, my dear, it's time to go back to you.
Eleonora, you are such a joy to listen to, just talk about all these things that I think all singers wonder about. I've truly learned so much throughout this whole conversation. And my question to you is, we've been talking about this self-analysis and awareness of one's abilities. And I was wondering, maybe you can speak from maybe your experiences that you've had when a singer doesn't do this analysis accurately, and how this can be detrimental when it comes to feedback, or when it comes to just presenting yourself in a way that doesn't accurately match who you are.
I mean, one of the main reasons why I like my job and I wrote this book is that, as I said to you before, I have a huge respect for talent. And I suffer very much when I see that there is a waste of talent. So if someone who has talent that doesn't, take then an opportunity that he or she deserves, this is something that hurts me very much. And unfortunately, the waste of talent, according to my experience, appears and occurs mainly in this gap that happen between the end of the studies and the beginning of the professional career. This is the gap where most of the talent are dispersed, and this is very painful for me. So to do this analysis, help you to be castable. So not just to be a talent, but to be a talent that can be functional for the work. So the problem is that there is a moment in which everyone has the abilities to sing, okay, the ability to more or less to act, a certain level of ability. This is the moment where we must start speaking about the capacities, which the capacities are the tools for make your ability a job. So it's like hard skills and soft skills. Okay, so hard skills, I know how to play piano. Soft skills is I am able to do with my piano, my profession, and this is the I think the most useful perspective of the self-analysis.
Absolutely. And I was also wondering, since I've been practicing my Italian so much reading this book, it's like, okay, get it together. But I was wondering if you foresee your book being translated into other languages.
Well, thank you for your question. The book just has been published very recently, so it's a newborn, and I am discussing in this moment the translation into French and into German. I'm discussing them, so I think it will happen. But unfortunately, I didn't have the time so far for having good ideas concerning Spanish and English. Those are which are the languages that that I'm more attentive to, because also the Spanish speakers are incredibly talented. If you think about all Latin America, so yes, unfortunately, French and German was easier to find contacts, and for English and Spanish, it will be in the future, but I have to find the time find the time and to find the good ideas, because it's also a question of finding the good publisher. Every suggestion is welcomed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, both. Actually, this question was wonderful because some people, Eleonora, since they saw the promo of this interview, they started asking if it is available in English, first of all.
Yeah.
I won't say anything about Greek, my language.
Why not? I mean, no, this is really a public announcement. I mean, I hope you enjoyed my presentation and my speaking to the questions. Whatever you want to share as an idea for publishing the book in other languages, no matter which language is it. I mean, because why not Greek? Why not? I mean, everything that can help the book to circulate, please let me know. And I would be very grateful if you launch good ideas.
We will definitely do this because it's an empowerment tool, as we said in the beginning, and we support anything that works like that gives the power to the singers. And as it is in the cover of the book, it is said it is a self-management per musicisti. So it is exactly what AdE advertises from the beginning of its function, that this power has to be given to the artists. They have to be educated, however, how to do it. Unfortunately, we are close to the end of this wonderful conversation. Before I ask my last question for you today, I would like to ask our wonderful people here if they have any other questions for you, or if the people who are watching us have other questions for you. We can do it now. Anyone? Okay. Okay, if something comes in the comments, I will let you know. So I will move forward to the last question, Eleonora, which has to do with this time of the pandemic that it seems that you took so well advantage of to write this book and summarize all this analysis into this beautiful guide. So this pandemic affected a lot the opera industry and especially emerging artists. And I would like to ask you, what is your advice to young artists who are facing problems in finding their place in the job market, as they continue hearing, from agents and opera theaters that there is a lot of skepticism, there is a lot of hesitation in bringing in new faces and taking risks. So how do you see the situation, and what is your advice to them?
Okay. It shouldn't be the last question, in my opinion, because otherwise we close with a sad note and a sad chord. And wow, so I will try to be as positive as possible. And so I start saying that my dream would have been that after the pandemic, we could have took the opportunity for destroying the star system, which I dislike completely. I think that there are artists that are stars because they deserve. There are others that are stars because they have marketing. And but the star system, I mean, I think that yes, it is one of the possible systems, but one of the other possible systems is to invest and to take responsibility for our things. I mean, when I hear something, I take the responsibility for what I've heard. No matter if it's positive or negative, it is my responsibility because I decided to be in a position where I have our choice. Okay, so it is my responsibility. And I would have loved that after the pandemic, this would happen. It didn't. It didn't. So I am. I'm facing also as a professional a bit of disappointment, and so I fear that the best thing that I can do with you is to share my disappointment with you. For sure, the situation will become better in a couple of years. I don't think before, unfortunately, because we have still to recuperate a lot of old contracts, etc., etc. And what I think maybe is this is the good, in a way, the good news is that unfortunately many singers quit their singing activity during the pandemic. So the one that resists are maybe the one that will have more opportunities in a very near future. This is my reply. I hope it didn't disappoint you.
No, I don't think so. What about you guys? How do you feel about it?
No disappointment. We understand. I mean, sorry for jumping in, but it's tough, and it's been tough not just for artists but for many other people. So I believe that what you said at the end is important to keep trying, and also no, it doesn't. I think we have to also accept that the career will change, and the idea that we had has to change, and that is also okay. So to stay and the ones that continue, like if we continue doing this, there are many ways of doing the career, but if we continue, it will eventually.
It will happen, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, completely.
Exactly.
Completely.
And the more people like you who serve this mission of helping young people exist, and the more organizations like Atelier and so many others that have been founded the last years are trying to empower young people, their effort will be a little bit more easy. So they will have somebody to stand by them and support them and not feel alone. I think the main purpose is that they feel they have the hand to touch.
Happy end. Happy end.
Exactly. No, I think that's the reality. It's not, we didn't create the happy ending. It comes from our heart. We will continue fighting and we will continue serving this good purpose with the help of these wonderful people who have supported us from the first day Atelier started, as Eleonora did. I have to say now in front of everyone that Dana introduced me to Eleonora 2 years ago, and I told her about my crazy idea to make an academy and a program like this, and she supported it without even knowing me personally or what exactly I wanted to do. When she heard I want to do something for young people, she said, "I'm with you." And I will never forget this. That shows the quality of the person you are, except from all the other wonderful things you are. So thank you very, very much, Eleonora. On behalf of everyone, thank you. We wish you all the best in the continuation of your endeavors in the theater and your personal life. And I would also like to thank very much the Aspiring Opera Singers founder, Miss Alejandra Sandoval, who has been an angel to me for this interview series. Thank you so much.
Even from my side, I like very, very much what Alejandra does. So you have a great page. You have a beautiful vision. I like it very, very much.
Yeah, and I think you combine creativity with high work ethics, and this is something I respect in what you do very much. And now, my wonderful people, my beloved faces, Juliet, Danai, Jessie, and Yorgo, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today and being part of this prelude.
And thank you even from my side to Maria, to Alejandra, to all of you that participated actively, and to all the people that followed us. Thank you.
I would like also to thank Sunny Boyd Ladlady, creative director and opera singer. He's working also for the Prelude interview series, but unfortunately he couldn't join us today due to illness. So we wish him to get well soon. And we wish also all the best to all of you who attended, and you honored us with your presence today from home or wherever you are. Stay well, stay healthy until we meet again at Prelude very soon. Have a wonderful evening or day. Goodbye.
Bye,
Goodbye,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Ciao, ciao.